This is the Miss Wolfie from our Half Acre Homestead, and today we're doing another recipe from the recipe box. Oatmeal cake. I got this recipe. Recipe is from Aunt Audrey's sister-in-law. I went out to Saskatchewan with Aunt Audrey when I was 12 and visited her brother Alan and her sister-in-law Kelly, and that's where this recipe comes from. Now the first thing it tells us to do is to take 1 cup of oatmeal, and I'm using steel cut oats. I'm trusting the process here. 1 cup of oatmeal. It does not specify. So we're going to use steel cut oats because that's what I have. And 1 cup of boiling water. And we're going to let that sit for 20 minutes. Now that our oatmeal has been soaking, a half a cup of butter or 1/4 pound or 1 stick, 1½ cups of white sugar, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of cloves, and a half a teaspoon of coconut. So I added a half a teaspoon of ginger and a half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Now it says here, you know, it's like I think that's supposed to be a ½ cup flour, but guess what? I'm doing a full cup. Okay, so let's do this. Let's see what we can make. Now this calls for a 9 by 13 pan, but I've got my 10 by 10 lined with parchment, and my oven is preheating at 350 degrees. Now, I'm going to put this oatmeal in a smaller bowl. I should have done that in the first place. I should have done it in the smaller bowl. Now this does not call for milk, as most cakes do. And if I find that the cake is way too heavy, then I will add some milk, but I think we're going to be okay. We will see. Now, there's our 2 eggs. I don't know if I mentioned them. We'll put them up there for now. And first things first, we're going to put the sugar and this stick of butter. We're going to get out the old hand mixer because my back is sore and I don't want to stand here too long. So first, we're going to cream the sugar and the butter together. Then we're going to crack in our 2 eggs and beat those in. It says mix together. Bake in a 9 by 13 pan, moderate oven, 30 minutes. Okay, so let's get our oatmeal in here. And then I can sift the flour. Our teaspoon of cinnamon. I did 1/3 of a teaspoon of cloves, 1/3 of a teaspoon of ginger, a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a half a teaspoon salt. Again, down to 1/3. And we're going to put our cup of flour. Maybe that's why the flour isn't, it just says a C for the flour. So maybe I'm assuming that's 1 cup. All right. Now let's just sift this. You can't even see what I'm doing, can you? There. Oh, smell. I love it. I think Howie's going to like it. And you know what? He needs to eat more oatmeal, but he doesn't like it for breakfast. And steel cut oats are the best for you. So if I can get him to like an steel cut oatmeal cake, then we've accomplished something now, haven't we? Now, this, I'm just going to do this. It doesn't tell me what to do, so I'm just going to kind of mix all this together now. Scrape down the sides. Wow. All right. Now, I'm going to take a spatula. I'm just going to throw a handful of pecans in there so that Howie knows he's got his nuts. We're just going to fold them in, just like that. And this is supposed to go into a 9 by 13 pan for 30 minutes. Now, I'm assuming that most people who, like my Aunt Audrey and her sister-in-law Kelly, would use regular oatmeal, like, you know, large flake oatmeal or instant oatmeal. But this is a much older recipe than those ladies, because I've seen it in other booklets here. So I'm going with old school ingredients, okay? Whoops. Drop it a couple of times to get any air bubbles out. And we're going to put this in a 350 degree oven for 30 minutes. And then we'll test it. Once again, the cooking instructions aren't the greatest. 30 minutes and the cake is still, it's still jiggly. So I hope I didn't make it fall by opening the oven and touching it with my finger, but it's going to get another half hour at least. Okay, our timer has gone off. And this time, I'm pretty sure this is done. Let's have a look. It's done. All right, maybe you'll get a thumbs up from Papa later. This is kind of similar. It smells like the same war cake. It smells like the war cake because of the spices, but this is much, much healthier. Less sugar, and there's oatmeal in it. Alrighty then. Cake is cooled down, supper is over, and Howard has decided. Oh, look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Yum. Let's take this piece over to Papa and see what he has to say. Okay, this is a spice cake without raisins. I put pecans in it, but not too many, so.
Spice cake with no raisins.
Yeah.
Awesome. Tastes like your pumpkin spice cake without the cheese filling.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Do we get a thumbs up?
What do you say, Chris? Thumbs up?
Yum. This is the Mrs. Wolfie from our half-acre homestead with a double thumbs up on the oatmeal cake.
There you go.
The oatmeal cake, double thumbs up from Papa. That is made with flour and steel-cut oatmeal.
It's nice.
Good. Another recipe from the recipe box. Take care, God bless.